I try to remember the mantra from Brett Baer over at Fox News, who says, this day is one day closer to putting all of this behind us. The president, of course, is front and center in insisting that we need to shift this country towards a reopening. This can't go on much longer, but of course we are threatened and we are plagued and we are certainly anguished over the prospect of more illness, more death, more despair. And it is such a disconnect, and it is such a difficult thing. You know, one of the things I resent is the accusation that any kind of political side, and it's too bad there are sides on this, is indifferent to human life. It's really hard for me to hear Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, talk about how precious human life is. You can't be unaware, and even Governor Cuomo can't be oblivious to the way New York's legislature celebrated passing laws to legitimize and legalize late-term abortion. There's no way. The media has saluted Cuomo, a blue state governor, and vilified people like Ron DeSantis, a red state governor. And you should put the numbers side by side. There's a lot of people in Florida. Admittedly, that people in New York City, it's a different story where subways are crowded and streets are crowded and people live on top of people in apartment buildings. It is a different environment. I've lived there for many years. Florida, of course, spread out more. But yet in terms of total population, it's definitely a tale of two stories. It's two stories. It's two states. But it's just so hard for me to accept this governor's reminder of the value of human life, because millions and millions of Americans saw the way New York celebrated the legalization of late-term abortion, and we thought the same thing. But here's what Governor Cuomo is saying now about life.
And the fundamental question, which we're not articulating, is how much is a human life worth? How much do we think a human life is worth? There's a cost of staying closed, no doubt. Economic cost, personal cost. There's also a cost of reopening quickly. Either option has a cost.
And I can't disagree with that. There's going to be, listen, not only will we pay a price, we have paid a price. 2020 has been a terribly powerful price that has been paid. Private businesses cut 20 million jobs last month. 20 million jobs lost in America. General Motors' net income fell 88% in the first quarter. 88% of one of the giant automakers in America. These are numbers that are staggering. The big home sharing giant, the Airbnb, where you can go online and rent a room or an apartment or a house. The CEO of Airbnb told his employees yesterday he believes Airbnb will lose $1 billion in the first half of 2020. Airbnb slashed 25% of its workforce yesterday. Now, these are people whose very livelihood is been taken from them with no end in sight. I've asked a question over and over and over again of the Andrew Cuomos of the world. Too quickly, there will be a price to pay. All right, well then what's not too quickly? When does the country begin? When do businesses open? that's not too fast to result in further infections and deaths. I saw 2 stories yesterday. I thought my head was going to explode. Honest to goodness, it was such a day yesterday. I mean, I'm trying. I come on this radio show every day doing my best to be optimistic, and I am optimistic. I believe in the American people. I believe in the resiliency and the spirit of America. Entrepreneurs, freedom-loving patriots, and a virus that doesn't care if you're right, left, or in the middle. It doesn't matter. This should not be political. And I kind of regret that it is, or it's become that way. But you know, I also am balancing the absolute compassion and sympathy we should all have for people who are afraid, whose livelihoods are gone, and really kind of resent the people sitting around lecturing others about how stupid it is to want to get back to work, because everybody that I ever hear say that has a job. Everybody that whether it's a media personality or a judge or a pundit on TV or a columnist they all have jobs and have no idea what it feels like not to be able to feed your family. We are at quite a place. And there's a lot of questions I have, incidentally, about things like mortgage payments. Because I've heard this narrative. I've got a friend who's trying to navigate. He was laid off and has a mortgage and went to his bank and said, because all the banks are saying, we will defer. If you've got a mortgage with us, chances are you don't even have to document your request for us to suspend your mortgage for 90 days at your request. And of course, I immediately think, does that hurt your credit report? I want you to hear how that played out, and I want to bring in somebody who knows the answers to those questions. We have a great partnership with Fellowship Home Loans. I talk about them all the time. And a little bit later this hour, we're going to talk to Mike Rakeman from Fellowship Home Loans, because that's right now what they're doing. That's right in their wheelhouse, about helping people navigate issues like those. But there are so many issues to get through today, and I want to welcome you in. Once again, we're back at work, incidentally, started yesterday. Making the commute, it feels unbelievably liberating to drive into an office. Not a lot of people here, but that's okay. We're in the office, and we're in the ReliefFactor.com studios in our home base once again, and I'm glad you're with us too. Our number is 800-655-MIKE. Incidentally, as a text messenger just said, 20 million last month. We're talking 30 million plus of people out of work. Never been these historic low numbers.